Okay, so imagine you're at a party or you're just hanging out with a new group of friends or something, and you see someone you're interested in forming a relationship with. And you obviously don't want to impress them, and you're wondering, how can I do that? And then you overhear them talk to their friends or someone else in the group about dirt bikes. And you're like, oh, well, I don't know anything about that, but I'd like to impress them. So I'll tell you one question you can ask that person that can easily impress them. And that is, do you ride a 2-stroke or a 4-stroke? And now, before you ask this question, you obviously are going to want to know the difference between the two for yourself. And I have been riding motorcycles my whole life, and I currently own a 2-stroke that I fixed up for my senior project. And I've ridden my friend's 4-strokes, and I have my motorcycle license. And so today I'm going to tell you the key things that you're going to want to know about them, which is how a 4-stroke engine works, how you ride a 4-stroke, how a 2-stroke engine works, and how you ride a 2-stroke.
Does it sit on the computer?
Yeah.
Don't push the display buttons, remember. I'm a button pusher from way back.
So one way, I'm just going to tell you right now, because it's pretty easy to distinguish the two just by looks. This one's going to be the 2-stroke. You can tell by that pipe right there. And then 4-strokes have just a small pipe right there. But the first topic I'm going to discuss with you is how a 4-stroke engine works. And basically, you're probably wondering what a stroke is. And a stroke is basically just the stage in an engine cycle. So there's like 4 strokes or phases in a 4-stroke engine. And the first stroke is going to be the intake stroke. And this is pretty much a basic diagram of a 4-stroke engine. And before I go into too much detail, I just want to tell you some vocabulary. This is going to be your spark plug, and this is your piston, and then these are valves. Matt Finley explains in his article, Animated Images, that during the intake stroke, the piston moves downward, drawing a fresh charge of vaporized fuel and air mixture. So basically, these gears are just going to be rotating while the motorcycle's on, and the piston's going to come down, and the gas and air is just going to come through here and fill up that area. And then 4-strokes, the fuel that they use is going to be 91 octane, which, if you don't know what that is when you go to fuel up your cars, it has like the 81, 87, 91. 91 is the highest you can go at a normal pump, and that's the one you're going to put in your bike. And the next stroke is going to be the compression stroke. And that's basically, Matt Kivleney once again explains that as the piston rises, poppet valve is forced shut by the increased cylinder pressure. So pretty much it's just saying the valves are going to close as the piston rises, and all this gas and air is going to be compressed up to the top right there. And then the third stroke is going to be the power stroke. And this is the stroke where pretty much all the power you're going to get from your bike is going to be. And basically, Kevin Lee explains that at the top of the compression stroke, the spark plug fires, igniting the compressed fuel. As the fuel burns, it expands, driving the piston downward. And once it's up here, there's going to be a spark that comes out of your spark plug, and it pretty much makes it explode, kind of thing, and then it shoots it down really fast. And that's why it gives you most of your power, because it makes it spin faster. And in 4-strokes, the spark plug fires once every 2 revolutions. And by doing this, it gives it a more linear power delivery. And then the 4th and final stroke is going to be the exhaust stroke. Basically, Kevin Lee says that at the bottom of the power stroke, the exhaust valve is opened by the cam the upward stroke of the piston drives the exhausted fuel out of the cylinder. Basically, once it sparks, there's going to be all these leftover fumes kind of thing, and the piston just goes up and pushes it out your exhaust. And with a four-stroke exhaust, it's going to be very deep sounding. It's kind of the motorcycles you see on the street are four strokes. Most cars are four strokes, like engines. Yeah. And now I've told you all about this engine stuff, and you're probably kind of confused. But basically, the main takeaway from all that is you want to know that four strokes give you a lot of a linear power delivery, which gives you more torque, which is basically just power, at the low end of your revs, which are basically how fast your engine is spinning. And so in order to ride a four-stroke effectively, you need to utilize the power band. And Stephanie Ronconda, in her article, Difference in Using Your Clutch Between Two-Stroke and a Four-Stroke, says, you have to ride smoother and take advantage of the extra torque and roll the throttle more. So here is a diagram kind of illustrating the power bands of a two-stroke and a four-stroke. And this black line is going to be the four-stroke. As you can see, there's a lot more power right here in the lower end of the revs, whereas a two-stroke is going to be all in the higher end. So you want to stay lower in your revs around here in order when you go out of corners or in straightaways, you have all this power to use. Now that you know some stuff about four strokes and how to ride them and stuff, we're going to talk about the classic two strokes. Two strokes were very popular up until around 2000s, and it mostly switched because of emissions tests. They give out a lot more pollution, but they were mostly popular because of a lot of power that you get in the high revs, and they're lightweight. So a two-stroke engine, it does all the same things as a four-stroke does, except it does it in only two phases. So the first, and they call them the upstroke and the downstroke. So the first stroke is going to be the downstroke, which does the same thing as the intake stroke and a four-stroke. So basically, the engine comes down. The only difference between the two, though, is that it's the gas and air is preloaded into here, and then it flows into there. And then Jay Baviskar says it moves from top dead center, which basically moves the top to bottom dead center, to let the fuel into the compression area. And then the fuel for a two-stroke is going to be the same octane, except you're going to need oil in it to lubricate the parts in the engine. And then the next is going to be the upstroke, which does pretty much the power and the compression, power, and exhaust all in one. So it goes up, sparks goes down, and then the exhaust fumes go out, and then the fuel goes in, pushing the exhaust out. And now to ride a two-stroke effectively, I'm going to reference the same one. The lighter weight, so you can corner a lot better and stuff like that. You can maneuver the bike yourself, whereas a four-stroke, you let it flow with wherever you're riding. Where the two-stroke, you kind of move it yourself. And you want to keep it high in the revs by using your clutch, which basically lets you rev up the bike without giving it gas and flying away. And you want to stay like right around here in the revs, so you have all this to use. So I talked today about four strokes and how they have the intake stroke, compression stroke, power stroke, and exhaust stroke, and how to ride them. You need to be smooth on the throttle to use that low end torque, and how two strokes do the same thing but in half the time. And with all this information, you'll surely be able to impress that person at the party, or maybe even it got you interested in motorcycles. Either way, I'm glad I got to share one of my biggest passions with you.
All right, Kendall, what did you think?
I thought his intro was interesting and that he had a good time at the end with his concluding. I knew where he was going with it, and he had good visuals. He was making good eye contact. There was some reading, but not too much. He explained the visuals very well. But when he was explaining the visuals, he was talking to the screen and not talking to the audience. He needed to talk to the audience a little bit more. He knew what he was talking about. And, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I thought the visualization in your attention device was an interesting way to try and create a justification for talking about the subject. It was kind of funny. And you made it very clear what your topic was. There's an excellent preview of what the supporting points are going to be, so that's fine. I thought that in the body of the speech you had lots of references and supporting material for your presentation. That I think is also very solid. I appreciated the extra effort that you went to on that. I do think that we still run into a little bit of a problem that it's kind of a technical explanation, and the audience is going to, some of them are going to care about it, a lot of them aren't going to care about it, and sometimes it gets a little intricate in what you're describing, and there's got to be a way to maybe simplify, especially the four strokes, because you've got, you know, multiple terms that you're introducing, and you have to make continuous references, and then you're trying to compare it to the power band that you're documenting. You know, it's like if I was supposed to know and understand all of this, like if I was going to do a test right now, I don't think I'd do very well on the test. I understand the basic concept, but I'm going to be stuck on the technical things, and like the visualization that you need, I think, when we're talking about how to ride the bike, that's especially, I think, problematic, because I think you have the reference in your head. You know what it is that you're thinking of, and the rest of us are going, well, what the hell are you talking about? You know, it's like cornering and throttling up and using your clutch, and going, well, I've never ridden a motorcycle. I know what a clutch and what that kind of thing means, but I've never had to do those kinds of things in a car because I've never been using, you know, trying to escape from the police while I was driving, you know, the getaway vehicle. So, you know, I'm assuming that you're not doing that kind of stuff. It's like racing kind of things. I saw the bikes that you had at the beginning, so I assume it's racing bikes that you're usually talking about, and those are the references that you've got. I think you need to tell us that. I think you need to give us a reference. So like when I am racing, you know, and I'm using a two-stroke engine, and it's an oval track, or there are obstacles, or there are jumps, or whatever it is, you need to do this kind of thing. So and that's why the two-stroke really works well for this kind of track. But if you're going for, you know, something else and that sort of thing, and it's just curves that you have to worry about, then you're going to have the other, because that's going to give you the steady flow kind of thing. Kind of give us a little bit more context. And I'm telling you to put more into the speech. The speech is a little long anyway, and there's a lot of detail. So when I say more, you got to make choices. You got to cut some things out and put some other things in to make it clear. It's pretty well organized. The diagrams are all fine. You know, they're pretty simple in what you're explaining, but there's a lot of them. And there are a lot of steps in each of those processes. One thing maybe that you could add to it would be just the phrases for each of the steps in the stroke that you're talking about, so that we could see that a visual reference along with the diagram that you've got. That might help us remember, distinguish what those points are a little bit. I think that would help. The delivery, look, you usually talk to us. I like that. You need to work a little bit on your projection. You've probably got just kind of a quiet, natural personality anyway. But remember, you're speaking to an audience, so you have to, you know, you don't have to ham it up per se, but you do have to kind of, you know, energize it a little bit. And you're, like I said, I appreciated the humor at the beginning, but it's a little dry for an audience, and so maybe you need to kind of punch it a bit. And I like the way you came back to it at the end. I thought that was effective as well. All right, thank you.